So myself, Raghavan, I work for Downer as a solution architect, and Jiva, he will be joining shortly. So he recently joined Valrada, based in Sydney, I think. And Greg Olsen from Data Group, so he's one of the group leaders. So we both, driving this Auckland Power Platform user group. So just a very usual thing, like a small agenda, which is like introducing ourselves and then some housekeeping. So the area of focus is primarily on Power Platform. So you can see all this beautiful Power Platform products, along with Power Pages and some governance. So on top of all this Power Platform product, you can see the good thing is there is something which is above and beyond, which is the Power Platform governance, which is like cleaning up and center of excellence, etc. So this is the backbone. And so just a housekeeping. So I think with the new Teams meeting, like a webinar, by default, everyone is on mute, I believe. If you guys want to ask questions at any time, raise your hands. I can unmute yourself, and you can I think by default the video settings is on, I believe. So you guys can come on video if you're not shy. And also the slide deck will be shared from Olina based on her consent after this session. And also any feedback which is welcome. And you can see the official group at the bottom. I will post the link in the chat shortly. So we do this currently as a monthly meetup. For the last 3+ years, we are running it as a monthly event. Sometimes, like a bi-monthly, depending on the speakers. Like if we get too many speakers, then we do sometimes bi-monthly. Mostly like MVPs and the key experts in this area, they share the knowledge, and also the main purpose is to have fun and then learn how things are going across the globe, and especially in our neighbor country, which is Australia, to understand like how they are actually doing, right? So which is good, and also the upskilling thing, which is really important. So to survive in this new era, which is like upskilling yourself constantly. There are other user group links, like one from Wellington, which is driven by Rami, and another one from Richard Purdy's from Christchurch. Also, the Greg Olsen, we have the Dynamics and Power Platform. I will post all the links in the chat. And then the star of the show today, which is Olina Krushenko. Did I pronounce it right?
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, great. And she's the CEO of Technomancy Private Limited, and she had a huge success sponsoring different events recently, I believe, the Sydney, and also very popular in Power Pages area. And there are so many things like a blog, and she's also a mentor for one of the MVP as well. So I know her very well. We also met in the MVP summit last year. Oh, this year, this year, yeah. Yeah, so it was really cool, and then it's a privilege to have Olina coming to this Auckland Power Platform user group, and then the topic she will be covering is polishing your Power Platform using the Figma tool for admins. Yeah, so that's from my side. Over to you, Olina, so you can start sharing.
Thank you so much for the introduction, and thank you so much for the Power Pages and some of the expert, and was very nice to meet you at the summit, and thank you so much for inviting me. Okay, I will start sharing screen. I know every presenter wants that. Every presenter wants this some kind of interaction and people actually to have it as a conversation. I don't know, not always happening. And yeah, I don't know, people could be shy. People just don't want to talk. Of course, I want to talk as well. I don't want to talk to you. I want to talk with you. If you have anything to ask or say on the topic, please do. I don't think I have I don't have that packed agenda for the whole hour. So if you want to stop me and ask questions, please do. Let's just start with slides. I prepared these slides because I think yeah, I know people like demos. Just give me 1 second. I will show you some demos, some risky demos. Now I know you're going to record. That already makes me feel anxious because I'm going to show some of my environments. I hope there's nothing secretive in there. It's not my customer environments. Okay, let's just get started. So there will be talks and demos and I really hope that you engage with me in the process. It's a very new what to say, the brand new presentation, but not a new topic for me. I'm currently actually working with one of my customers on the very same in the very same area, and it's very interesting how it feels like me preparing this presentation is actually contributing to my hours spending on investigating how to do it better for my customers. I'm myself, my background, I'm a developer. I'm a web developer, I'm a .NET developer, transformed into a CRM developer, Dynamics 365 developer, Dynamics 365 Power Platform architect, and recently just converted to a dark side of Power Platform admin and governance, and looking after my clients, helping them to with the Power Platform adoption and make sure that Power Platform is set up correctly in the organization, or how do you say, ad, ad, adapted to the organizational model. So I would say I'm a developer, but because I'm in this role as an admin, I've been for 2 years now. I started this mindset transformation, and I think it's catching up with me being a better solutions architect, because I've learned, like, we as developers, we come to our customers, right? We for those who's doing consulting like me, we come to our customers, we set something up, we build the systems, and we leave, right? And what happens to the system after we left, and what happened to our customer, at maximum we'll have some support agreement, we will get busy with other projects. But really, it's interesting to get this customer perspective from what's inside. How does it look inside? And I think, again, I believe it makes me a better solutions architect for Power Platform as well. So cleaning, cleaning. Yeah, this dramatic slide, right? We like hearing. I said no AI in my presentation, please. No paid tools, no promotions, no AI. Yet then I was generating this slide from the help. There is a magic button designer in PowerPoint, which I really like because it makes it all look pretty. For some reason, it's put this dramatic slide. I don't know why it decided that that adoption needs to have this drama. I was thinking, I attended a very good session today, another session on governance just an hour before this session. And I thought after that, what do I want to tell you? If I want to just summarize everything which I really want you to take away, that would be this, right? If you somehow care how Power Platform gets adopted in your customer organization, you must look at the Power Platform management side, because it's really, I have another slide for this topic, but it's really not always like, again, today's phrase is 90% about people. It's another 9% about licenses and only 1% about technology. So it's not always about technology, it's how people think and how people approach things. So then we talk about cleaning, and I like putting QR codes everywhere. So it's I think there was a question in the beginning about COE. Is it the same as COE? Is admin and governance the same as COE? Admin and governance is a part of a COE, which includes also maker nurturing, supporting processes, obviously strategy and vision at the executive level. But then we look at the topic where we talk about cleaning. Yeah, it's okay, Ben. Thank you. Thank you so much for coming. Um, and hope you can watch it later. If we talk about cleaning, it's a part of the admin and governance, and this is an admin and governance maturity model here on the screen, according to Microsoft. Um, and usually organizations are at the very initial level with it, and then as they start doing something, they actually progress through and then they come. Then they mature enough to understand that cleaning is required. They probably somewhere around level 200. This is what I've noticed. This is what for my customers. If you're in general interested in a topic and you can tell me how it's in your organization and where you with your cleaning and where you in this maturity model, you can mute and talk to me. Didn't see too many organizations passing level 200 on and being like ticking all the boxes for level 200 up to the more mature level. But if you have something to tell me, please do. I see Devendra there on the call. I don't know how present he is. He mentioned.
Listening.
No, you mentioned that you are going through the cleaning. Where do you think you are and your organization is? I'm sorry for putting you on the spot. You don't need to show your face.
Yeah,
It's just.
I think it's definitely much above than the 200 level.
Yeah.
We are kind of doing the automated way to find out the assets that are not being used, and then asking the feedback from the makers if they still want it, and if they don't want it, we are kind of doing the archival process and then potentially asking them to confirm and then delete. It's still getting there slowly.
Thank you so much for your input. Yeah, so it's definitely on the level 100. People are just unconscious. They don't know what they're doing. They don't know even anything about admin governance and it that it exists. You can have a look at the maturity model. You can scan the code. I have to move to another slide. This is my it's my takeaway thoughts from today's customer interaction. It's always very insightful. Then you hear this phrase, is it scalable in terms of some kind of like SharePoint storage and a thing? You have to be prepared. Think about this as like, oh, how much capacity do we have until we start caring about how we clean it up or archive or anything, right? So then it's a red flag phrase about scalable. And so at the end, we will get a customer who's gonna blame the product, and most likely it's not even gonna blame your consulting firm for that, but it's most likely going to say, oh, this product is not scalable enough. This product doesn't meet our requirements because we cannot just fit in all these things in there, and we didn't think through the strategy and this whole cleanup things. So that is my experience. And this is what I heard today. And I'm just like, let's talk about this. What's your compliance policies? What do you need? How long do we store these files here? So having those conversations usually really help to not be like, to not have this, oh, this garbage SharePoint again. This Dynamics doesn't do it well. It's a bad product. Microsoft is their fault. Okay, so then we talk about cleanup. Why do we clean up? I found this very like people understand figures. People understand that then we talk cost then for especially for the executive part of the audience, where they don't understand quite these technical terms, but what they understand is costs, right? As I mentioned, at some point, and they pile this rubbish somewhere which is scalable enough. At some point, they discovered that costs start growing, and at that point, they start screaming. And what do we do? How do we start? How do we clean this? So it's all about costs, right? So it is about costs. We talk about some unused licenses used for something which they're not supposed to use for some proof of concepts which are already outdated. So it's all about costs. Also, it's about improving the user experience, and we think about the end users, and then we think about makers. For end users, we think about them piling through the unused test assets with prefix test on my test app, my very first something, and about resource consuming. And we know, probably you're good developers. I do believe you're good developers. So you know about our limits, our request limits, and limits on actions, and some other things. So it's not unlimited, right? And some capacity we have at the tenant level. So, the more things are consumed, for something which we don't need, the less capacity we have for something good which we want to build. Therefore, we talk about these things, right? So enhanced performance is the same. Resources, they consume, like the assets consume resources. And resources, obviously, if you reach some limit, you'll start seeing this whole performance impacts of the things, especially if you have integrations or something like this. And I found myself discovering some old integrations on some test environments still enabled, and it's my bad, right? So you need to go and switch it off, especially if it runs like something like in every 5 minutes. Yeah, horrible, and I didn't say it out of loud for your recording, but it is not good. The other consideration would be a security and compliance, because some of the old built things may not follow the best practices from our current perspective, right? Because we grow, platform grows, and we improve, in a way how we um, like approach things. And whatever we built yesterday might not be like already new connector is there, and this bridge is like basically this some updated patch was applied, and it's like it's better from security perspective, but we have something old built which is not deprecated yet. So these very simple things. So another cat for you. I don't know, you're a serious, very serious user group, and I'm spamming you with cats. But this cat is making mess. So I don't know. There's a fine line, and we need. I guess we need chaos to every developer. We like making mess, because chaos is a creativity. We do something, we try something, we do a proof of concept, we do things here and there. This is how we innovate. This is how we having this creative flow things. But then we from this creative stage, we move to the stage of productizing things. We, I guess, have to apply some order. So with the Power Platform, what are we cleaning? I know you mentioned dashboards. I didn't include dashboards or any of the reporting. Yeah, default environment, Devendra. I'm going to talk about this as well. So with the cleaning up, I think I'm surprisingly not moving with the speed of light, and in 25 minutes we'll see how I go from. I'll try to move slides faster. But we're cleaning up apps, flows, data. Then I say data I think it has data, but also if you think about the example I gave you, imagine the integration environments or something which were actually getting data from somewhere, some other data sources to Dataverse, right? So do we need it at all? Do we do we just turn it off, then our project is over? How do we, what's the life cycle, this whole environment life cycle? Interesting topic, which we may discuss or may not discuss today. All new connectors, probably some other things. So today we'll be focusing on apps flows and environments cleaning. I'm not going to touch much of the data, but it's there. Think about what you leave on the integration environment as well. Okay, so we need some magic here. We need some magic because we don't like cleaning. I don't like cleaning. I like building. I'm a developer. I don't care about cleaning, whatever. Like it's not my problem. So as a developer transformed into admin and I'm wearing admin hat now, I don't want to do so much of a cleaning. I prefer to have some helpful tools, or then I say tools, I mean automations, some like tools, and also some frameworks or maybe some helpful tips for me to help me to do my job better. Again, Devendra, it's you. Then you were showing your slide about reactive and proactive admin. I think this is the topic I like the most. I think at the very beginning, admins then they discover, and Devendra was telling, and this, it's really awesome. Like he was basically telling the story that most of the companies in this unconscious state, they didn't realize they don't realize they have Power Platform at all. So we all know these customers because they run some Dynamics maybe, or they have some Office 365, and one day, 2 days in a row, like most of my clients, they discovered they have Power Platform, and it's already, interesting things are happening in there. So at this stage, it's going to be we have to react somehow. We have to put patches. We have to quickly stop people from building and doing this and that things. For the proactive, then we come, I think, around level 200, we probably start having this proactivity ideas around automating something, around cleaning up and everything, and also monitoring. But so we have some breathing room. But the other side of the thing, the more proactive work you do, the less reactive work for you is left to do, right? So the more process you put there, the more like layers of automation and things to help you. It's almost like you have a plug and everything is it's like a plumbing, right? The something is like a big hole and it's splashing from there, and you have to just put something in there and patch it. And how do you do this? What do you do first to do this patches, to make this flow of things or tasks, admin tasks coming your way a little bit thinner, right? Because if it's this thick, you constantly, you're drowning. You don't have time even to think on how to plan things. Okay, so I think I'm good. So I called it preventive cleaning, and the preventive cleaning is probably, and with cats it doesn't work much, but I can imagine that it's somewhere in the world you can just put this pot with this flower somewhere where cat cannot reach it, right? At in my imaginary unicorn world, because cats can reach pretty much anywhere, and they can jump and they can climb. But preventive cleaning would be our preference. So trying to make sure that some things are not happening, to not clean at all, right? So then I'm finally at the tools and processes, and then I will start demoing you things. Maybe you know things, maybe you don't know. Some things I will be talking, you definitely know, and some things maybe you know, but you didn't think about this. Like it's your plug, just use it, right? So if you turn this setting off, it will magically make your life as admin easier. Is it good or bad for your organization? Yeah, that's a good question, and we can have a dispute about what how bad could be admins stopping people from developing things. So for on the preventive thing, I put DOP policies, as Devendra mentioned, specifically targeting level 100. If you go back at level 200, we have default environment, which needs to be covered with DOP policies, at basic DOP policies, and I will show you this today. The settings, setting up tenant settings. Unfortunately, tenant settings didn't make Microsoft list for the Power Platform adoption maturity. I don't know why, because it's the most obvious place for me as admin to go where I need to do my preventive things, right? Because I will show you. For the on the reactive side, we have Microsoft helping us with their auto cleanups. We'll talk about this, and there's also a couple of processes. And as much as I like my Power Platform admin view, I'm not going to show it today, Devendra. I'm gonna focus on often. No, I'm gonna tell you a bit about orphan assets cleanup, and I'm gonna talk a lot about inactive asset cleanup because it's recently my favorite process. What happened in my organization? Again, don't tell anyone. It's almost a secret, which we're going to share with the world by putting it on YouTube. Um, that when we deployed the COE toolkit, we made sure that none of the notifications get sent. We put the settings here and there in email and exchange and everywhere, because in COE toolkit there are lots of interactions. So COE toolkit has automations which send both messages and Teams, email messages, everything. So there is no one button switching it off. Then you deploy. So we got in some trouble trying to make sure that we don't spam people. And then we deployed it finally to production after some times. I think we were doing something. Nobody complained, but then we discovered that this inactivity asset cleanup was happening silently. So we forgot to disable something. And in my organization, I think this was almost the best thing which happened on the admin and governance side, because we accidentally were proving that the process is actually working and users are okay with it. And then you talk about organization like 7,000 users, you have to be very careful, and this whole communications and organization-wide processes, how it's all set up. But I'm very confident, and now I'm in we decided, now we disabled it, and now we're trying to re-enable it for organization already consciously, and I'm looking forward to it because I think it's great, and I will show you some today with the orphan asset cleanup. I'm not going to show it. And I'm sorry that I brought Devendra with me on your meeting, and I'm keeping talking about him. But I wanted to say it's a huge amount of work to prep to any demo speaking. And I think everyone who does that on the call knows that. It's lots of prep on setting things up for demo, getting data right, getting tools right. And with admin and governance, it's horrible because it's even worse. Some things you cannot simply even reproduce in your tenant, because let's say my customer has multi-tenant. I only have one tenant for my trial. I cannot even show things to people, and especially developers do their blogging, and sometimes sometimes you use your customer environment and you do this blurring thing and you do this crossing thing, but what do you do? This governance, it shows everything. You cannot do the screenshots in your client environment if you want to show something to people. And it's very difficult to set up on your own environment. I will show you on two environments, one which I planned first, just, yeah, I know, just to discover, just to discover that I don't have Teams in there. I didn't even know before that you can run Power Apps and Power Automate on organization with no office. Don't tell Microsoft. But it's so strange. So I have one organization which I will show you some of the things, and I have my organization, which is the only organization which I have control of. And let's just see. Yeah, environment cleanups. The one general on the left is a little bit scary. Then I was diving into the world of cleanups for environment. I was okay for Dataverse for Teams. Some people are familiar with that Microsoft is doing automagical cleanups for this, but are you aware that some of the production non-Teams environments can be automatically cleaned? Apparently, if you don't have subscription attached to it, or you're not paying, that it can be like cleaned by Microsoft. So have a look at this. I'm not scaring you. I'm just trying to, get you excited about just looking at this, scanning these QR codes. And a Dataverse for Teams, it is described in here. Microsoft is doing it for you. I will tell you another story. If you're not bored by my stories yet, I'm going to bore you with another story. With Dataverse for Teams, my client is coming to me and screaming in emails, this exclamation marks, customers screaming, I've got this message that my environment is going to be deleted. What's going on? And I'm just like, okay, I'm going checking on the admin side. Yes, it shows that environment is about to be deleted, and Microsoft runs rounds of notifications for you, and it's during the period of 90 days or something. They're keeping notifying you that your environment's going to be deleted. So it's not like they send one email then delete your environment. And you still have time to restore it after. So, but I went to investigate, and I see this environment prepared to be deleted. And of course, this environment owner is terrified. He's almost crying, saying, "Oh, but I have they have the important apps in there. I know we use these apps. How come it's an activity cleanup if we have this production apps running every day there?" And I started doubting Microsoft, right? We're just like, first thing is like, oh, hold on, this process isn't working, customer is upset, I need, what's going on? And then customer says some phrase, and by this phrase, I started realizing he's talking about different environment. So customer deployed his apps on the default environment, obviously, because it's the most obvious place to deploy everything. And from there, and they're running there, successfully running, they use it every day. But before that, he ran his copies of these apps in another place, and nobody uses it. So it's typical thing to be cleaned up. And we actually stopped it from cleaning. And I regret, because for the next time I will say, oh yeah, Microsoft is right. It's probably some different environment you run it on. So let Microsoft do the moral here is let Microsoft to do their job. If they're cleaning something up, let them do it. The inactivity, have a look at the definition of inactivity. It's pretty broad for environments. It includes running apps and automations, also updating apps and automations, and admins doing admin things. So the set of events which are, if they are not happening for a very long time, then Microsoft deletes it. Let them do that. Let them do their job for you. Your job. Okay, I think it's demo time. Okay, let's go. I'm gonna successfully escape. I will start with this very my lovely environment. Let me just make it bigger. I have a big weird screen. I apologize for that. Can you see it? Can everyone see it, or you want it bigger?
Yep.
Yeah, it's so good. So, okay, I don't want to start here. I don't know why I opened it here. I really want to start here at the very top right corner next to my not so pretty with no avatar thing. with the Power Platform settings. This is what I want. And to start with, every single of this setting is a plug in some way. So Copilot on preview, right? On, off. This is your plug, right? My Copilots everywhere. Microsoft releases new settings, always it turns on by default, right? If you somehow missed it, it turned on by default. If people start developing, right? And then you come and we can talk about Copilot governance. So you can come to other sessions where we're talking about this. But Copilot governance is an interesting topic. And now I'm so in depth with this topic as well. So if you are in a position to turn it off, if you don't need it yet, don't. I don't know anything about the feedback. It's probably not that interesting. Some things marked like this are managed environment only, and I'm not going to talk about managed environments as much as they help you to manage things and admin things. I don't want to talk about this. I want to talk about, for example, the developer environment assignments. If you are not enabling environment routing, if you are not, your organization is not Power Platform friendly and you're doing baby steps, you can decide to limit this from everyone to only specific admins to save yourself a little bit of gray hair. It's a questionable thing, not supported by product team. They want you to use developer environment. Your organization setup may tell you otherwise. You look at your policies and act accordingly. This is amazing. This is great. You no, not this one. There some other thing saying that you have to enable reporting on the tenant level. Enable this. This is how you display this capacity reporting. I don't think there is a reason for me to do this. I think environment admins would benefit from these statistics as well. It's not a scary setting. It's only who can use as can look up the summary. The production environment assignments. Who can create production environments? Trials, right? Or bunch of settings which are plugs. If you don't want it, disable it. Make it for admins only. Okay. Let me just finish here. So you start with environment settings, you go and scroll through and make sure you actually understand what's happening on the tenant level. Yeah, then I was talking, it's amazing. I was talking about this, enable your analytics on a tenant level. It's great. It's actually basically inherited from COE Toolkit analytics, which we love from the COE Toolkit. Microsoft made it to the product, which is great. Thanks, Microsoft. It's amazing. So I finished with the settings. Let's move to the data policies and hopefully, do you want a little bit more time to talk about your next sessions? Or how much time do I have? Do I have 15 minutes?
Yeah, you
16
got.
minutes? Okay.
Yeah.
So I will quickly go through the data policy, right? So for the data policy, this is the policy for the default environment. And by default, everything is blocked. Moving forward, everything is blocked, right? We only have business connectors which are not premium, right? Default environment is a Wild West. Default environment introduced by Microsoft by accident. Nobody ever planned it for you guys. Microsoft didn't plan it to be a maker environment. It's an integration environment for Microsoft purposes, which all of a sudden became this how do you say, enabler for the Power Platform, where people all of a sudden started developing their assets. So to cover this with policy where you basically regulate which connectors can be used by default in your organization, just cover it with, and again, it's in Microsoft documentation. It still states that Microsoft changes their messages from time to time, but I on my last check, is still, please, non-premium, put there, you're safe, cover your default environment. I will tell straight away it's not that simple. You probably know already who does that. You don't want to upset your users. Therefore, most likely you have to go through the environment remediation before you're able to actually deploy this policy. Otherwise, people's stuff is going to break. Depends on the organization and what the organization wants for Power Platform. They may say, okay, we'll give you notice, but it's going to break anyways, or offer you some kind of services to move your stuff to other environments, which is going to take forever. Okay, depends on how agile is your organization. So that was all the preventive on the preventive side. And while I have still have time, I'm going to do this big side thing and show you my environments. And again, close your eyes where you see something and don't make much of the screenshots. It's just an article. It's a Microsoft article about the inactivity. I will make it big because probably you all suffer from my screen being strange gaming screen, even though I'm not a gamer at all. Just like the screen is wide. So inactivity process consists with multiple flow synapse. And what it basically does, it finds the processes which let's say were not modified for 6 months, and it starts spamming owners of these processes saying, do you still need it? Do you really need it? And sending them approvals. And I will show you approvals in my own emails. And hopefully I secured it enough to not flash any of secret emails. Oh, it's not secret, right? It's me speaking. So show me some. Okay, let me make it bigger. Control plus. Can I do bigger? Oh, okay. See, I'm not that advanced. I cannot do Control plus, and it doesn't listen to me. Do you see anything from what in my screen? I will make it. Sorry, I will make it somehow into the separate window. Who knows how to make it in a separate window? Okay, have a look at the screen. I don't know how to. Let's just do this. This is the email I get. This is the approval email. It sends from the approval engine, and it basically tells me, Elena, you're not doing a great job. You have this flow. It's actually not just me not doing a great job. Basically, I had someone employed. He built this flow. He left organization, and it's basically if it had less flow, please go clean up. I can approve reject straight away from emails because we love emails. Also, I can go to the engine, to the approval engine and do it in bulk. Like I can review it in bulk, look at all modifications here and approve reject. What happens then I approve or reject? It doesn't, if I approve deletion of this asset, it's not going to be immediately deleted. It gives me 3 weeks. During the 3 weeks, it will notify me saying to back up, do backup, will annoy me. At the end of this term, it will delete it if I approved it for deletion. If I reject it, it's a different story. We'll also have these apps. One is, oh, okay. And again, it's tiny. So one is, you can find it, it's all in a toolkit. I didn't build any of this, right? And it's basically shows all your approvals in here, and you can still like after something was rejected by user, you can review it and say, yeah, okay, because it's rejected for a reason, I actually how do they call it, excuse, right? I forgot to mention, and it's very important. Then you set it up, then you enable the process in a COE toolkit. You can specify which environments are covered by the process. So basically, you can exclude and include environments from the process. You can say, these are production environments, don't touch it, don't ever touch it. These environments which I approve, you tick boxes in the COE toolkit where on that magic admin view, and you can exempt environments from the process. You also can you can give the exemption to the app of flow. You say, I run this enterprise app, it's very important, just leave it alone. I don't want ever anyone touch it. You can do this. There is another tool which it says Microsoft Planet for managers. Managers, they receive weekly reports on their the people they manage, and basically in this report it says you can go to this tool, and you know, do your magic. Your users, your employed people, employees, they don't respond to our notifications. Go and do something. Do your job. In reality, okay. Then I say the COE toolkit tools are for free. What does it mean? You still need at least one admin license, right? For that. And starting from there, so it's mildly paid tools. They're still paid tools. I don't know if anyone ever told you that, but nothing in Microsoft Word is rare case than something is you're not paying for. Even for COE Toolkit, you are paying with a license. You need a license for admin, license premium for automations, and premium for app to run it. It's a minimum, absolute minimum for Toolkit. With the Microsoft Vision, you have to give a pay-as-you-go to the COE Toolkit environment. Pay-as-you-go meaning your other super users, managers can access some apps. They don't need system admin security role. There's a specific role for that. They're maker apps, but they all have to somehow pay for that. So unpaid way is to give it to admin. Then they send emails, you don't pay anything. An approval kit is included in Office 365, at least E5, E3, I guess, licenses. So this tool is not going to work for my customer because we're not going to give manager access to it. Is it going to screw up with the process? I don't think it's going to much change the process because we still, if good, let's say it reduces this amount of cleanliness at the end because we cannot clean things which we don't have responses for. But then we can have internal policies. If nobody responds to emails, then we can clean it anyways. It depends on the organization. Okay, I think I pretty much showed everything I wanted to show very quickly. I started very slow and now I was rushing, which I apologize for. Do you have questions to me? Do you want me to go back to something and talk about something in more details?
Okay, a quick one.
Devendra, can I hear you?
Did people complain about the email notifications when you do this?
Nope. No one ever said anything to us. We discovered by looking at this tool, we basically looked at something like approved and deleted. I don't see it in here, but it was just saying, oh, it was cleaned up. And then we looked at the comments. See, there's a comments here. Then you look at the comments was like, oh, I don't need this tool at all. It was just a testing. So from my perspective, no, they didn't complain, but I'm glad you asked that. One of the processes I really like to implement is Stack Now. That Open Apps process is fully based on Teams notifications, which we think is going to be too much noise for users. We know how we treat emails. We used to emails, right? So we know like, oh, put it in somewhere, you know, it's email. I will look at it later. You cannot look later at if your bot is spamming you in Teams. It can be quite annoying for us. I looked at rebuilding this process to customize. It's very not the complex. The flow itself is monstrous. So rebuilding it to a different channel of distribution will be a big effort. So we are pausing on the Open apps cleaning at the moment. What we want to do is to run reports, trying to understand who it targets, like all the managers who's going to receive these notifications, at least to understand how many people are going to suffer from this if we enable this process. So it is not as simple as it sounds, like just let's enable it. But for inactivity, we had a good success accidentally, accidentally because we accidentally enabled it. So we are proceeding. The only thing, have a look at my email before I stop talking. In here, you have an ability to put the text, and we're going to put the our contact. We have Power Platform email. We have our email mailbox for the Power Platform admin staff. So we'll put the communication there saying, if you have questions to us, if you're concerned about something, contact us. So we will be customizing the body of email here, and we definitely are not going to be enabling a manager app link at this point of time because it requires extra licenses.
Makes sense. I think the emails one, let's say I built 100 apps or 100 flows rather, I'm going to get 100 emails if I don't clean them up.
It's amazing. It works for me. Trust me. I just did that. I finally started reacting to these emails, and it's good. It motivates you. Let's say motivate is a good word. So it motivates me. Therefore, I'm a lazy person. I believe it's gonna motivate people who get reminded. Yeah. This is all the content I wanted to share with you. I don't, yeah, I may stop sharing or show you some cats in the end. Maybe this naughty cat here. Can I just do from here, the naughty cat? Any questions from the audience? Do you want to unmute yourself? 300 plus power-ups developed. Yeah. Okay, do you want me to read it out of loud, the message, or you want to unmute and talk?
Certainly, you can unmute now.
Hi, Elena.
Hey,
Actually,
hey.
so one of our clients have more than 300 power apps, actually, various initiative and kind of council organizations. And we would like to capture, identify the top 20 use cases, top 20 apps to be developed on make it an active, because the earlier whoever's developed, there is no CI, no center of excellence, no governance, no security, and anyone can develop, and someone is leaving, there is no active. Some of the apps, they're not much active, and who's user, we don't know that. There is no tracking methodology in these organizations. What is your strategy to clean up these 300 apps, or pick up on top 20 apps out of the 300?
It's a very good question. Let me just escape my cat and go back to some environment, I think, with this one. Okay, install the COE toolkit. If you think it's too much hassle, go to, I think here, it's Power Automate. Remember that tick box I said you have to enable analytics at the tenant level? It's a fairly recent feature of Microsoft, which allows you to not install COE toolkit and still get an amazing reports. I will show you some. Are there Power BI you can see? Just a moment. It takes time. It takes time for them to capture these. It's actually, it's not immediately run, but here my apps, here my flows. You see what's in use, maximum in use, which apps. It will be a good indication for you. And make activities. I'm talking a platform. Everyone knows Power Platform Admin Center, right? So it's at Power Platform Admin Center. If you're Power Platform admin, this your maker activities. I don't know, just have a look at these reports here. Enable them. It takes about 24 hours for them to collect the information. Then have a look at this user activities. In the COE toolkit for the tool which I didn't want to show you, the Power Platform admin view, they have a link to the makers, and it will show you top makers. Just reach out, talk to these people, top makers, and people who develop the most of the apps and flows. there are lots of analytics in the COE toolkit. I really recommend you to install it, and helps a lot. You can run PowerShells. I do run PowerShell scripts, but PowerShell scripts are very good and where you know what you are searching for. If you are investigating something, you would probably use PowerShells, and you would use a combination of PowerShells and COE toolkit, and now you have Power Platform Admin Center, which definitely costs you like whatever platform costs you, and you can look at all these reports. They're awesome. You can have a look at this, and the same for Power Automate and the same for apps.
Okay, so do you recommend to implement the Center of Excellence? Is it right? Or...
Center of Excellence is much bigger than COE Toolkit. COE Toolkit is just a set of tools. Center of Excellence is you coming together to define a strategy for your organization, how you use Power Platform, right? So COE really doesn't equal some kind of tool or a magic app. It's a strategy for Power Platform adoption in your organization, because each organization is unique. But COE Toolkit is amazing. You have to install it to have this visibility on who's making what's the most important apps, and then you start cleaning up. People will come to you. You don't need run after them. They come to me. All of a sudden I discover this magic apps they run, and I look at the apps and think, how people, they're not professional developers, how are they building it? So they come to you because you start cleaning, and they're just like, oh, don't clean it, we use it, like everyone uses it, it's critical for my business. And this critical for my business is what you want to hear, right? This is critical for my department, we cannot live without it. This is your enterprise apps or apps which are important for
definitely
your business.
We can monitor that, we know that how long they're using this app, non-active for this app for a long time, maybe 60 days, maybe 90 days. We know that.
You can see the sharing, how many people it's shared with, right? If it's like more than 5 sharing, that's like if 30 sharing, and in these 5 sharing, have a look, is there security groups? Does the security group says all stuff, right? So it can be 5 sharing, but not for individual users. There's a whole group of people. All of a sudden you have your, again, magic app, which is critical for your business.
Okay, cool. Thank you. Thanks.
You're welcome. Okay.
That setting, Sabrina, is that enabled by default, the analytics?
Which one? No. I was showing it to you. Let me just go back to the settings. It's not enabled by default. It's somewhere here. It's fairly recent feature. I would say I'm talking months, maybe like time flies for me, maybe less than 6 months for sure. Enable it. It will collect data. It will tell you, it will show you empty screen and say, I went to collect data for you. And because it's aggregation and everything, but it's really cool. You don't need the toolkit for these things, for this type of reports. They're already embedded in the platform.
Okay, thanks. So we need to let the Power Platform admin know to enable this.
Yeah. It's strange that your Power Platform admin is not aware of this feature, but sure, yeah, you can send it to us to upskill. Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for asking good questions. Okay.
Just conscious of time. Do you have anything else to cover, or?
No. I already mentioned that it's everything I wanted to show or talk about. And again, clean up to yourself. Otherwise, everyone's going to blame Microsoft, saying what a garbage product they created. And if you want Power Platform to succeed in your organization, your customer organization, just make sure the cleaning up is happening. Even though we are not fans of cleaning, we're developers, but like, toys, playing toys, putting toys all around, splashing water and things. Yeah.
Yeah, totally cool. Jiva, are you there?
Yep, I'm sitting right here.
Hey.
Hey, Elena, how are you?
You're on the other side.
I have a very interesting question. When are you coming to New Zealand?
When am I coming to New Zealand? It's a good question. When you invite me, just I haven't been to New Zealand ever, and my partner wanted to go to New Zealand last year, but something happened, and it didn't happen. So anytime really, I just if you run such good conferences, we don't do it in Australia. Anything you run and invite me, I will come for sure.
Once we get enough sponsors, hopefully.
I can be your sponsor. Just run stuff.
Okay, that's enough. That's enough. You are going to be here in New Zealand this year.
That's good. That's good. Just plan some events, and we will make sure. I don't promise you like 100,000, but we'll get you some.
Yeah, great.
Absolutely. Thanks to you, and thanks to Andrew as well.
Yeah.
Yes, thanks everyone again for joining today. Sorry, I was just have on and off in between meetings and the call, but I'll go through the recordings later. And thanks, Valena. It requires lots of effort to prepare COE toolkit, to send data and kit and all those stuffs. I really appreciate that. And I'm on just announcement on the upcoming events. So we have Microsoft Build starting in May 21st to 23. I'm just sharing that link in the chat. And if you're not registered, make sure you are registered to the Microsoft Build. And also, I want to share, if you have missed the Microsoft BizApp, BizApp launch event. I'm just going to get that link as well, just in case you can see the a nice presentation session from Charles and the information around the Power Platform and on the co-pilots. Yeah, with that, I know they're doing well now when you say co-pilot, right?
Did you just say C word? Okay. Anyways.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, sweet. That's all. Thanks again. Thanks, Raghavan, for having Elena today's and this month's session.
Thank you so much for inviting me. Have a good rest of your evening, day, anything. Thank you. Okay.
Thank you.
Perfect. Thanks, Elena.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Thanks,
Bye.
Elena.
Bye.
Bye.